This is the moment everything becomes clear, the moment we have been waiting for. In the last video, we installed the software. Today, we are going to write 10 lines of C code and click one button, and a physical LED on this chip blinks, STM32 board. But before we write a single line, I want to show you the journey your code takes from your keyboard to the LED on this board. Because once you understand that journey, you understand embedded systems. Let's trace the path step by step. Step 1, your computer. This is where you write the C code. It's just text, human readable text where you tell the chip what to do. Step 2, ST-Link. When you click upload in VS Code, PlatformIO compiles your text into machine code. Zeros and ones the chip understands. That machine code travels down this USB cable into the ST-Link. Step 3, 4 wires. SWDIO, SWCLK, GND, 3v3. These 4 wires carry your machine code from ST-Link into STM32. SWDIO carries the data, SWCLK keeps it in sync, ground and 3v3 are the debug interface. 4 wires, that's the entire programming connection. Step 4, the STM32. Your machine code arrives here and gets written into this chip. 64 kilobytes of flash memory inside there. And this chip resets and starts executing your code. 48 million instructions per second. Step 5, the LED on this board. Your code tells pin PC13 to toggle high and low every 500 milliseconds. PC13 is internally wired to the small LED on this board. High, LED is on. Low, LED is off. On, off, on, off. Imagine you wrote text on a keyboard that became machine code. That machine code traveled down USB cable, crossed from software into hardware through 4 tiny wires, got stored inside a chip the size of your fingernail, and is now executing 48 million times per second, making a physical light LED blink in the physical world. That's the journey from your fingers on keyboard to the light blinking. And this is the entire point of embedded systems. Remember this moment. Now let's make this happen. Open VS Code, and if you have the hardware conversations project created, that's good. If not, I'm just going to create a new project here called, so the way I got here is you click on the PIO home, that will bring you here. So here you want to type project name, hardware conversations, and then board. We can select STM32 F072 eval because that's the closest we have, and then select STMQ and use default locations. I'm going to use all. You can select a different folder. I'm going to hit finish, and this requires a few seconds. So while that is done, you can see this new project is created, hardware conversations, and in this there is the platform.ini file. We need to update that file, so I'm going to copy the code from the previous INI file that I already have and paste it there. I also have this in the description if you want to. Looks like yeah, so this is already updated, so you don't have to, but if you do not have exact same text, feel free to copy it from the description. Alright, so with this setup, now what we are going to do is open a new file in
source. So in src, that folder, we have the main.c, and in here we are going to uh, delete everything that's in there right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete all of that. What we'll do is we'll type this code. I will have this code in the uh, description below. So let's walk through this code of what it actually does. So in pretty simple language, line 1, this include line, this brings the STM32 hardware definitions. Without this, your code does not know what RCC or GPIOC mean. Okay. RCC, this line right here, that's for enabling the clock. Every peripheral on the STM32 is switched off by default to save power. This line switches on the clock for GPIOC and the group of pins that include PC13, the one that we need, because without this, the PC13 does nothing, and that's what gets connected to the light later on. This line motor, that's the pin direction. This sets PC13 as an output pin, meaning the chip can drive it high or low. By default, all pins are inputs on this particular board. Then we have the ODR line. So that's the toggle. The XOR operator flips the pin state. If it was high, it becomes low. If it is low, it becomes high. Every time this line runs, the LED changes state. And finally, we have the for loop, and that is for delay. This sort of delays or wastes time by counting to 500,000, and at 48 megahertz, this takes roughly 500 milliseconds. Not precise, but good enough to see the LED blink clearly. You can play around with this number to change the rate of blink. So that's it. These are the lines of code that can make one blinking LED. Now let's send it to the chip. Make sure the connections are there. Make sure the ST-Link USB-C is connected to your computer. Make sure the STM32, the mini USB connected to your computer, and all 4 SWD wires are connected, same as we did in one of the previous videos. Now what you want to do is open terminal in here. So go to terminal, new terminal, and for hardware conversations, and here is what you want to type. After this opens, you want to type PlatformIO and then run -- target upload. When you run this, you'll see this on the screen, and you need to watch the output. Compiling PlatformIO is converting your code into machine code, and programming started tells you ST-Link is writing to the chip, which is right here, and verified OK. This tells us that the chip confirmed it received the code directly, and success in green here tells that the steps were done. Awesome. Now is the moment we were looking for.
Look at that. The LED is blinking right here. That's the L1 on this board. And this is blinking because of the code you wrote. 10 lines of text on your computer now executing inside of this chip right here. 48 million times per second, making this physical light respond. This is your first embedded program and it works. Awesome. Congratulations. Now, why does this matter beyond just blinking an LED? Because this exact same journey, computer to ST-Link, ST-Link to STM32, STM32 to physical output is how every embedded system works. A factory robot, a a hospital monitor, a washing machine. In all of these instruments, there is the same journey, more complex code, but the same concept. And in the next episode, we add one more path to this journey. The return path. STM32 sends data through the ST link, through the USB cable into Python on your computer. Numbers will appear on your screen live from a real hardware, and that's episode 1. See you there. To summarize, you now know the complete programming journey. Computer writes code, PlatformIO compiles it, USB carries it, ST-Link programs it, STM32 runs it, and the LED blinks. Next episode, we add one wire, 10 new lines of code of Python, and the STM32 sends its first number back to your computer, the number 99. Simple yet profound. Subscribe so you don't miss it. The PlatformIO.ini and the complete C code are in the description below. Before I let you go, 2 things that will go wrong for some of you and exactly how to fix them. Problem 1. Upload fails with unable to connect target. This almost always means the ST-Link lost connection to the chip. So the one fix is unplug both USB cables, wait for 10 seconds, plug the STM32 mini USB first, wait for 3 seconds, then plug the ST USB C3, try upload again. This works 90% of the time. If this does not work, you could try the other way around. Plug in the USB-C first, wait for 3 seconds, and then plug the STM32 mini USB. Problem 2. Upload succeeds, but the LED does not blink. This means that your board's onboard LED might be on a different pin than PC13. So what you can do is try changing the PC13 to PC14 or other pin in 2 places in the C code and reflash it. If that doesn't work, drop a comment below with your exact board name and I'll try to help you find the right pin. One thing to avoid, never write code that sets all GPIO pins as outputs at one time. Why? Because 2 of those pins are secretly used by the ST-Link for programming, and setting them as outputs locks you out of your own chip. If this happens, hold the reset button on the board, STM32 board, while running the upload command. This usually fixes it. If it doesn't, again, feel free to post a comment below and I'll try my best to find